and succulent growers, it's Lynn, and in today's video I'm going to be having a bit of an autumn fall succulent revamp with this table here. And this table I have the majority of a lot of my smaller growing succulents, some crassulas, many different types of Echeverias and graptopetalums and the like, pachyphytums and that. And a lot of them have been blooming, and I need to prune the dead flower heads off, as you can see there, give them a bit of a tidy up, remove some of the dead leaves that's sort of hanging off them, and also check there's no signs of any beasties hiding under their pots and on their foliage, because these type of succulents can be very prone to mealybugs and the like, all them annoying pests. And I did do a video probably about a couple of weeks ago now when I did a revamp with all of the Haworthias, Gasterias and the aloes here, and some of the succulents also on here, and I gave them a thorough clean out to check there's no signs of beasties, and also rearrange them all better so they're all getting plenty of light so they can overwinter well in this polytunnel for the winter. I just want to show you a few little updates from that video. This one here is one of my Adromistresses here, and that's coming in lovely big flower spike. And also look at this, guys, my little Haworthia pygmy, the little miniature one, is in gorgeous little flower spike. And this little cutie was gifted to me by my wonderful friend Alex Chapman. And Alex very kindly gave us this cutie at the beginning of the year, I think it was, and it's doing very, very well. Happy to see it flowering. So it's a bit of an update on all of these that are rearranged, and I'll link the video to that rearranging and revamping video if you haven't seen it up above and also down below in the video description. And I've been working my way through a lot of the cacti as well, and I didn't film because it was just too much to do and a lot of work, but I've made sure that they're all completely clean, pest free and looking their best to overwinter. And I completely stopped watering all of these cacti in the polytunnel now, except for the epiphytes, and I'm still lightly watering this lovely monkey's tail because it's coming up in lots of bud. And I want to show you something else, guys, before I go on to the succulents. I'm just going to show you here, look what I've got blooming today at this time of year. This is one of my Camelobivias, and this is a Camelobivia Sharon's Delight, and it always blooms usually around the sort of May time, anything from April, May to the June time, and I've had all of these blooming all through the spring and early summer. But what is remarkable, it is re-blooming again now at this time of year in October, and I've never had one bloom in October. I've stopped watering completely with all the desert cacti, so these won't be having any water, but I've never seen it bloom so late in the year again, and I think it's because we've had amazingly warm weather for September and October, and for this time of year we're having sort of the weather you'd normally get, temperatures you'd normally get in August. It's crazy. Not that I'm complaining, but we also need it to sort of go quite cool as well for the dormancy to happen with the plants. Anyway, there's me going off topic again. Now this is a table here, it's a bit of a mess, and I want to get these off the table. I want to clean all these trays so there's no signs of pests, and also remove any old leaves and things like that. Give the trays a clean, put them back again, and then I'm going to go through the plants, make sure that all dead leaves have been removed and there's no signs of bugs. I'm going to probably give them a bit of a spray anyway with the rubbing alcohol, just to be on the safe side, because a lot of pests you cannot see. I'm going to check under the pots and everything like that. And then I'm going to rearrange them on the table. They'll probably go back more or less how they are, because they're not badly arranged. I've got mostly the taller ones towards the back and the small at the front, but they do need a good revamping, as you can see. Many old leaves, and people often say, can you just leave the dead leaves on succulents such as this Echeveria? Well, you know, I recommend removing the dead leaves, and that's because pests love to hide on the dead leaves, and also in the winter time, especially when temperatures are cold and it's usually more damp. Dead leaves hanging like that can also attract a lot of mould and fungus issues, so I like to remove them once they're crispy enough to come off. And I have made a video on how to remove the dead leaves from Echeverias and the similar type of succulents. So do check that video out if you haven't seen it. I'll also link that video up above and down below. It goes into a bit more detail on how to remove these dead leaves to keep your succulents looking nice and tidy and fungus leafed free. So here we go then, guys. This is what it looks like now. A bit of a mess, I think, anyway. And I'm going to start off by start on this tray first. These are the large ones, mostly all Crassulas, and take these off and go through these. That's the first tray with all the plants taken off. There they're all on the floor. Going to be going through them all now and removing dead leaves and giving them a spray with the rubbing alcohol. And just want to show you how messy the tray is. I'm going to be taking this off, giving it a good clean, and also cleaning it with the rubbing alcohol so it's all nice and clean, and check that there's no signs of any pests or anything hiding under the trays as well. That's the first tray, all nice and clean and sterilised with the rubbing alcohol. And now I'm going to be working my way through these, taking any dead leaves off and checking for pests. What I like to do with the rubbing alcohol as well is put a little bit into a dish, and I use it to clean up any sort of dirty leaves. Some of these have got a bit of mould issues, so the black sooty mould is usually a sign that they've had some type of pest, either scale or mealybug at some point. I've checked, can't see any signs at all. Very clean plant, but going to be using this just to clean them up. Yay, that's the first table done, and all these plants on here have been removed of dead leaves and cleaned up with the rubbing alcohol to get any signs of any sort of mould and things like that off. And I've checked under the pots and everything, and they're all good. Given some of them a little bit of a pruning, and much better. Now I'm going to be starting on this table, which, as you can see, a bit of a mess, lots of dead leaves. I just want to mention we had some very tall plants at the back, and I've moved them over to here because I need to prune them back, and also they're quite tall, so they're not going to fit right at the back on the table where there was. These little cactus seedlings, epiphyllum seeds, will be coming into the grow room for the winter anyway, so I'll have a bit of height here to put these ones there. So all doing well, and all the dead leaves I've removed off there. And now I'm going to start on the second tray. That's the second tray, all emptied, and all these plants on the floor. So I'm going to have a wonderful time going through all of these and checking for pests and removing all the dead leaves and pruning any that need to be pruned back. I just want to mention how cute is this, guys. These are two little leaves that obviously have fell off one of the succulents, and they've started to grow into a little plantlet. And these leaves have just been sitting on the tray. I mean, they haven't been in any soil or anything like that. You can see another one there just starting to grow. I'm going to pop these on top of one of the pots, and they'll just carry on to grow into a little plant. And it's so easy to propagate succulents just from their leaves. And I made a video many years ago now on how to propagate succulents the easy way, just literally by putting a leaf off, letting it dry for a day or two, placing it on top of the soil, and they will root. But it just proves they'll just root even without any soil at all, just falling on the tray. Little cuties. Now, I'm often being asked where to get these boot trays from that I use to put the plants on. And these are what I got from IKEA. They're literally about £2, about €2.50, $3, and they're great for putting plants on. And what I make sure I do is when I'm cleaning the trays, the trouble with these boot trays is these have like little indentations in them, and I make sure I spray all of them with this rubbing alcohol. I put it into a spray bottle, spray it all down, so you get rid of any hidden beasts that are hiding in between these little indentations, such as mealybug nests or any type of spider mites hiding that you can't see. So the rubbing alcohol is really good for sort of sterilising it all and getting all the trays all free of any pests. The only negative side with these boot trays is that when you have a lot of plants all on them, if you have something like root mealybug, then the the root mealybugs can spread to the plants. But I obviously check my plants regularly to prevent that, and watering I find with the neem oil in the spring and summer helps to prevent it. However, I often still find when I'm repotting plants I get root mealybug, and this is the problem when you've got all plants together on the tray and they're not on the individual saucers, so just bear that in mind. It's great for saving on space, but that's the negative thing about these. So always good to give everything a good thorough spray down with the rubbing alcohol. Great to see this Echeveria grey curl, beautiful sort of Echeveria here, coming into bud. Because a lot of my succulents, including my Echeverias, they can grow in the spring and flower. And I also find they get a bit of a growth spurt on them, sort of late summer, early fall. And some of them are also winter flowering. So what I'm going to be doing is when I've rearranged all these, put them all back and everything's done, I'm going to give them one last water. More or less one last water of the year now, because it's well into October, and the temperatures are going to drop a lot in here. We keep our polytunnel at 5 Celsius, 41 degree Fahrenheit. But because a lot of the succulents do come into flower, especially the Crassulas, which are these ones here, they often flower in the winter time, so I do still have to give them a little bit of water if they're showing signs of shriveling. So it's a bit of a dilemma. It's completely different to the cacti that I keep totally dry over the winter. So I just have to sort of water maybe every 6 weeks or so, depending on if they're shriveling. Lovely to see that coming into bud. And I just want to mention as well what I do to remove these dead leaves. And it is a good idea you remove them so they don't go mouldy in the winter. And also insect pests love to hide on dead leaves. So it's always good to remove them. Plus it makes the plant look a lot tidier. I use little tweezers here, and it means you can go right in and they just come off. So easy to remove. And I have made a video on how to remove the dead leaves from Echeverias. And if you want to watch that video, a few little tips on there, do watch it, and I'll link the video up above and down below in the video description as well. And also I have, if you're new to Echeverias or you want to know a bit more about them, how to grow them and that, I've made a whole video on how to care for and grow Echeveria. It's a massive genus, lots and lots of different types of Echeverias, and I think they're beautiful succulents, one of my favourite succulents. And do check that video out if you want to know a bit more about Echeveria and how to care for them. I'll link that video also up above and down below in the video description. There's something so therapeutic about taking off the dead leaves on them. I love to just sit here. It's like a form of meditation for me, and it makes the plant look so much tidier as well. I just want to mention something as well. With Crassulas, commonly known as the jade or the money plant, they sometimes have these little white spots on the leaves, and this is caused from minerals that are in the soil. When you water the plant takes it up, and the little minerals come outside as the plant gives off these little minerals that's in the soil, and often down to the water as well, especially if you're using hard water that's high in lime. The calcium deposits, lime deposit will come up onto the surface. This is completely harmless, and you could just leave them, or rubbing alcohol will remove them if you don't want them on. And I've also made a video on white spots on your Crassula money jade plants and the causes. So if you want to know a bit more about that, do check that video out. I'll link that video also up above and down below too. Now, talking about winter bloomers, this is my Crassula Rihanna, and it's already starting to come into bud, as you can see there. Lots of little buds, very exciting. Now, any old dead flower heads can just be removed, no problem at all. Woohoo! That's the second tray done. All the plants all nicely pruned and checked and rearranged, and I've put a mixture of different colours, some of the red sort of coloured Echeverias with some of the green ones, so, and the pink ones there. So I had a nice bit of variety with some of the Crassulas as well. I think it looks much tidier and much better. And I've took some of the plants that was on here and put them on here because there was a bit of extra space. So a bit more room on here as well, so I can spread these around a bit so it's not going to be so tight. And the next thing now is to sort out and clean this tray. Now that's me starting off on the third tray here, and I've got all my patchy phytums. I've sort of got them all together. I've took some of them off this tray here and got all of them together in the same place. Lots of different varieties of patchy phytum and a lovely colourful Echeveria there. And if you want to wonder what that noise is, it's actually starting to rain. You can hear the rain on the polytunnel roof. And I love being in the polytunnel doing plant jobs when it's raining. It's so therapeutic. The only trouble is the lighting isn't great in here when I'm filming when it's dark and rainy, so apologies if it's a bit grainy. Just have to show you these two little Echeveria miniature cuties. This is Echeveria Frosty Cristata. Absolutely beautiful, cristated, lovely sort of Echeveria here. And this one was gifted to me by my wonderful friend Magda here on YouTube. And Magda, if you're watching this is a little cutie that you gave me last year, doing very well. Love its little cristata form there, beautiful. And this is another one of the little Echeveria miniatures as well from my wonderful friend Laura in England. And this is Echeveria Fuzzy, another little miniature. I just think they are so cute. Now that's the third tray, all done there. All the plants all nicely cleaned up and rearranged and pruned. And it looks so much better, I think. And now I've just got left this tray and then it's all done. So these are coming off, cleaning the tray, and I'm going to show you what it looks like when this has been all arranged. Woohoo! That's the last tray done. And there's even space on there, guys. I've actually got some space. And all been rearranged and pruned and tidied and checked for pests. Happy to say there was no bugs. But I've sprayed a lot of them with rubbing alcohol anyway, and the trays all cleaned just to be on the safe side. And then I'm going to give these one sort of last good water in the next few days, and I'll probably film a little video when I do that. As I say, the succulents, some of them are winter flowering as well, so I may have to give them a bit of water over the winter. But the majority of these, especially the Echeverias, will just be given one last water now it's October, and then kept dry, more or less dry then until probably the April time. So, mixture of Crassulas, Echeverias, Graptopetalums, Graptosedums, Pachyphytums, many different types of hybrids, and also some types of little Kalanchoes as well. So much better. So I hope you enjoyed that little rearranging vlog of the succulents, and that's all the bits I've pruned off and removed, so happy days. And for lots more tips and tricks on how you can care for and grow many different types of cacti and succulents, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and click the notification bell. You can also check out my website, desertplantsofAvalon.com. I want to wish you all an incredible plant-powered day!